Ciao a tutti, bentornati sul mio canale, oppure benvenuti, come sempre. Sono Katie. It's crazy for me to think about that I would not be living in Italy right now if it weren't for this book. That's my book, that's my name. It was actually when I was traveling around Italy researching this book that I found my great-grandfather's birth certificate, realized that I could become an Italian citizen, and really kind of got the itch to move to Italy. But the thing I want to talk about today is that this book, this bad boy, this baby of mine, which I'm so proud of, came out about half a year ago now by the time this video publishes. That is crazy. So much has happened I could never have even guessed. In the months since it came out, I've been on the Today Show, on Good Morning America, on the Rachel Ray Show, on the Hallmark Channel. I've been featured in the Wall Street Journal. But before any of that craziness happened, I had my virtual book launch event because yes, I launched a book during COVID, so there was no in-person meeting, and Jen Penomrat moderated it. You all know Jen from her incredible YouTube channel, Just Eat Life. Her recipes, her enthusiasm for life is just amazing. Jen's a good friend of mine, and it meant the world to me that she moderated this book launch event for me, and we had so much fun. And I made my cheddar brownies recipe, my now famous cheddar brownies recipe. Because that was a ticketed event, I wanted to share this video widely for free with everyone now, because if you couldn't make the launch event for whatever variety of reasons, I wanted you to have access to it. I wanted to, as always, like I always do at the end of every single video, thank the Quirky Club, my Patreon community. So without further delay, I'm gonna throw it over to Jen and Katie of April 2021, when my book, Cheese, Wine, and Bread, just hit shelves.
Hello. Welcome everybody to the book launch event for the beautiful Cheese, Wine, and Bread by the one and only, the quirky queen herself, Katie Quinn. Yee! Let's have a round of applause. I know we're not all in the same room, but I feel like let's get that energy going. Are you guys clapping your hands?
I appreciate it. I trust they're clapping. You're all clapping, right? Jen, but you are clapping for everyone. Thank you.
Oh, I am so excited for today. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna be chatting with Katie about her personal journey on this exploration of the magical world of fermentation in cheese, wine, and bread. And then it's gonna get tasty up in here because Katie is also gonna be demoing one of the amazing recipes from the book, cheddar brownies. That's right, cheddar and brownies. I know we've had maybe some of us have had interesting things in brownies before, so I'm very excited for this version. There it is. Look at that. It's from afar, it looks like macadamia nuts. It's like, quirky Katie's got cheddar. There it is. Thank you all again for joining us tonight. We are so excited. A little bit more about myself. I'm Jen Penomrat. I am the co-founder and lifestyle video creator at Just Eat Life. And at Just Eat Life, I explore and make all things delicious, cozy, and empowering. A lot of it is influenced by my culturally diverse hometown of Queens, New York. Queens in the house, anybody? And my Filipino and Thai roots. And most recently, I became a podcast co-host with Katie on our upcoming show on Food 52's podcast, Either Side Eaters. Very excited. And this, the badass woman of the hour, is Katie Quinn. Yeah, give us a twirl. Give us a twirl. She is also a video creator, podcaster, and author. And I love Katie's work so much because she is a believer in finding the story behind everything, and that food connects people. Every week she posts food and travel videos to her YouTube channel, Q Katie. And her slogan is keep it quirky because she believes that life both in the kitchen and out is a lot more enjoyable when you take things less seriously. This is why we're friends.
It's true.
And Cheese, Wine, and Bread is her second book. She also wrote Avocados for the short stack editions and currently lives in Italy with her husband, Connor.
Buonasera.
Buonasera. Katie, we've been friends for about 7 years now. We've been co-collaborators on so many projects. So I'm very, very excited to host this event with you. Thank you so much.
Can't think of anyone else I would rather share this evening with, Jen. I'm so excited.
I'm honored. I will say, when you first asked me to host this, I was like, oh my God, yes, what an honor. And second, oh my God, I haven't picked up a book in over a year. So maybe not the best person, but I will say I'm almost done reading this. So big pat on the back and congratulations to me.
I would say so because I wrote a lot of words. So that's you. The fact that you've gotten through most of the book is impressive.
I love every single word I've read so far. But huge congratulations on this big launch day. How are you feeling?
I'm doing well. I'm doing really well. My motto of keeping it quirky in the kitchen remains true up until launch evening for the book. We had some issues here in the kitchen right before. That's why we're a few minutes late, because things don't always go as planned. But that is why I believe we have to keep it quirky. And that's why I still have a smile on my face. It's been a big day. It's midnight here in Italy.
I was going to say, how are you holding up? Midnight. It's past your bedtime, girl.
It is past my bedtime, but no, I'm great. Honestly, I have so much energy. I'm so excited that this book, that it's real, and it's a thing that I can touch and hold, and that
I could sleep with it.
Yeah, and that all of you have it in your hands. Or if you don't have it in your hands yet, that it will be on your doorstep very, very soon. I mean, that's just the coolest. That's just the coolest thing ever to me. So I'm just excited.
Well, we're all very, very proud of you, Katie. And I just want to take a moment here to let you all know that we are going to have a Q&A portion right after the demo. So if you see on the bottom right hand of your screen, it says ask a question. Feel free throughout the event to leave a question. I will select a few during the demo, just pop them in. But at any time, please go ahead and do that. We would love to hear from you.
Definitely. Please don't be shy. I would love to hear from you guys. I'm so happy you're all here, and ask me anything.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask you, Katie. I know there's an excerpt you want to read. Introduction of your book. Let's do that. Let's kick things off there. Get things bubbling.
Let's kick things off there. All right. So, as Jen said, this is from the intro. I looked at the spread on my table and blinked as I reached for an uncapped pen that sat on the countertop. I drew a diagram in the margin of the book, a triangle pointing down. I labeled each corner according to what I saw in front of me. Cheese in one, wine in the other, and bread at the apex, facing where I sat. Cheese, wine, and bread. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
No, that's the whole book. That's all. So,
and that's synchronicity right there. That's something you and I talk a lot about in our lives and careers. And we'll talk a bit more about the other synchronicities I learned about. But I will say, Katie, I am, as I said, almost done with the book. I'm now in the bread section. And I have to say, this has been such a fun reading experience for me. I've been glued to it. I think Kristen McGlory said it the best, that this is such a beautiful combination of travel documentary, food science, and memoir. And you're just a brilliant writer because of that. And so as a fellow food history and science nerd like you are, I was really looking forward to diving deeper into the complexities of cheese, wine, and bread, our beloved trio. But I was, because you're so good at demystifying fermentation at that cellular level, right? Yeah. And breaking that down for someone who may not even know how cheesy, what milk is. I learned from the book that milk, spoiler alert, isn't really a liquid.
It's a colloid.
Yeah, it's a, what is it again?
It's a colloid.
Yeah, that thing. But what I was happily surprised to find was that you were very vulnerable. And I saw a side of you that I haven't seen before. And it felt like, oftentimes it felt like we were pen pals and you were writing to me like these very intimate letters while you're on this journey. And I just felt like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Who's she meeting now? What's going on? So brilliant job. I really appreciated your vulnerability. I don't often see that on social media. And you love sharing a lot of your life, but this side of your life I haven't seen before. And so I really appreciate that. We see the highs, we see the excitement, the suspense, but also the melancholic and sometimes sad moments. So to wrap all of that, plus with food science and history.
I have to tell you, it was a lot, Jen. Well, so first of all, I mean, everything you're saying just makes my heart shine. Thank you. It really means so much. And I mean, I really did pour myself into this book. Every part, every brain cell, you know, all of the sciencey stuff, but also it was very emotional. You know, I didn't anticipate being as vulnerable as I was when I went into it. It's not like I was like, wrote this book proposal and was like, I'm gonna like air all of this stuff about me and my relationship. My husband Connor, thank God, was okay with kind of being a character in this book. I just didn't anticipate it. It was while I was writing it that I was just like, life and these foods are so interconnected for me. I have to share it, and not just like selfishly, personally to share about myself, but with the hopes that readers could then relate to it. They could relate to what I was going through. They could put themselves in my shoes, right? When you take the personal and you put it in context, it becomes universal. And that's really what I wanted to really connect with my readers and to make them not feel like, oh yeah, that was a really fun book and I like learned what a colloid is, but to like think of it as like a textbook or even, you know, like, you know, artisan profiles. I love books like that, but for me, making myself vulnerable was necessary in the end to that narrative through line too, you know, like it's what brings all the sections together. So I'm so glad you felt like I was writing love letters to you, Jen, as I have always wanted to do with my writing. That is the highest compliment. Thank you.
And I'm sure that everyone reading this is going to feel the same. We're all your little pen pals.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I love a good
waiting for the tea.
Yeah.
But on that note of what you want people to get from it, you know, you've been in this social media career, as we're both YouTubers. We're so used to things being instant, right? And so I just want to follow up with another excerpt from the book, which I keep reading over and over. Every time I open the book, before I continue on the last page, I go back to the introduction. And it says, I found this antidote to this haste of fermentation. When things aren't moving fast enough for me, fermentation reminds me of the value of waiting. And then later on here, the draw of these foods is that they take time to be transformed almost magically by the microbes within, which is a comforting prospect and a necessary anecdote to our live tweeting culture. For instance, when you post a photo on Instagram or Facebook, do you automatically refresh the page as likes pop up? I do. On that refresh. So imagine if you had to wait 2 weeks or 2 months before you could see the responses. But when you received them, those responses, although not instantaneous, were somehow able to endure, like a lingering hug or a letter that's traversed an ocean to land in your mailbox. Rather than the quick high of a digital fist bump, you receive a warm embrace. To me, that's akin to the satisfaction fermentation offers. Beautifully said. Um,
Jen.
so we've become so accustomed to the thrill of the instant gratification, instant validation. We forget in that process how to feed our patients. You had to do that with this book. You're this bomb ass journalist, video creator, podcaster. You're like, yeah, just whipping them out, churning out that content. What was it like to embark on the slower route, on the slow journey in this book?
It was a completely different experience. I think it was a privilege to move slower. But it took a lot of getting used to. And just generally speaking, not even because of the industry and the career that you and I have chosen, but generally speaking, my personality, it's like, I want something done. I want it done yesterday. Like, let's go. This, everything about the book writing process, which like a book like this is so new to me. You know, it's crazy to think about. I started this like 3.5 years ago. Close to 4 years ago is when I probably first got like the twinkle of this idea. It's and like that's insane for us. And like where we edit a video, post it, reply to comments, like all in a matter of hours. And I learned a lot about myself, honestly, in the process. Like when you slow down, you can't help but see things.
Yeah, you mentioned often through the book, there were a lot of revelations. And I saw them through a lot of synchronicities, starting from when you were very little, baking bread with your mom, right? Tell us about those memories.
Oh, Mom. Hi, Mom, if you're watching.
Hi,
my mom's an amazing bread baker. And I you know, it is something that's like, it's so emotional to me. The smell of her bread, I associate with home. Like that is home to me, whether it was coming home from college, she always had a loaf in the oven waiting for me when I came home, or, you know, like through some hard times too. It was always on the dinner table. Those hard conversations as a teenager, you know, like talking about sex or whatever. It's like, oh, there's Mom's bread. But it didn't like, it's
sex with who? Hold on, let me rip a piece.
Yeah. I need a break, Mom. Yeah, no, it was just always there. And watching her like knead is, I feel like I must have gotten some kneading skills just like through osmosis of just being in that kitchen with her all my life.
For sure. And like, I remember last year at the beginning of the start of lockdown, when sourdough was rising up again, literally. And I remember just seeing you constantly teaching us tips on how to make sourdough. And you look so confident. You're like, this is easy. And I'm watching your video going, this bee thinks that I can make sourdough. But you're such a good teacher. And I assume your mom was an amazing teacher too.
My mom is an amazing teacher. She knows this is what I'm about to say. She had never done sourdough before I learned sourdough, and was like, Mom, you need to learn sourdough. In fact, some of the writing and the recipes in this book was like testing it on my mom, whom like, okay, you're great at bread baking, but you've never attempted sourdough.
Oh.
See if you can make it with my recipe, and what are the questions you have, and where are you stumbling? And she was a great recipe tester. But speaking of doing things in the kitchen, Jen, should I start making brownies while we chat?
Yeah, let's get into this cheddar brownie.
All right.
And once again, just a reminder for you all, please leave us a question or a comment, something you want to hear Katie on. We'll hear those too.
Yes.
So run us through this cheddar brownie recipe.
Okay, so cheddar brownies. I love these cheddar brownies. They're so stinking good. I remember, so I was working at Neal's Yard Dairy, which is a cheese shop in London. I was a cheesemonger there. And one of my cheesemonger buddies, Beth, like mentioned this combo. And I was like, wait a second, you put chunks of cheddar cheese in a, what? And so I wrapped some Montgomery's cheddar, took it home with me, and made my favorite batch of brownies. And then at the last minute, I was like, I'm just gonna try this. Sprinkle the cheddar and baked it. And and this cheddar was mature, right? So it was aged, had those crystals in it. And I found that in the oven, it took on like a crystallized form. It became kind of sweet, but still had that savoriness to balance out the fudgy brownies.
Mm.
And when Connor and I took a bite of them, like fresh out of the oven, it was almost like it could have been like white chocolate chunks. It just had this pop, but then more nuance of like the kind of like salty nuttiness that like paired so well with the dark chocolate.
My mouth is like,
it's really, really, really incredible. So then I, tested and tested and tested forever. Connor can attest to the many cheddar brownies that we ate. And I love this recipe now. And it's not just for the novelty factor. It's not just like, oh, interesting, right? Cheddar and brownies. It's like, no, these are legit delicious. And yeah, they're interesting. And people probably haven't heard of anything like this. So that's always fun.
It's quirky like you.
It's quirky. It's quirky like me. I think that has to be a part of the reason I love it. But I'm really excited today to be using cheddar from Jasper Hill, which is in Vermont. They make just incredible, incredible cheeses. And this is a Cabot cheddar from Jasper Hill Farms in Vermont. And I have to say, it is nigh impossible to find cheddar in Italy.
Oh.
Did you know that? Would you have expected that?
Kind of.
Really? Like best mozzarella of my life, Taleggio, incredible, really, really hard to find cheddar. So Jasper Hill, thank you, thank you. And you'll notice, this is a quick tangent. Jen, you already know this if you've read the cheese section, but so this is a cheddar and it's a white cheddar, right? And a lot of places in the Northeast of the States do white cheddar still versus like a Wisconsin that tends to do a yellow cheddar. In England as well, where I did my cheese deep dive, the cheddars are white. And I do have a whole explainer about this. But basically, to make it that orange color, they'll add annatto seed. And that is to mimic the old time, because when cheddar was first made, this like orangey hue was a sign of quality because it was the beta carotene found in healthy cows eating fresh, healthy grass. Beta carotene in the milk showed in the color of the cheese. And then they were like, oh, wait a second, we're gonna take that top part of the milk and we're gonna make butter with it and make cheese with the rest. And so then that sign of quality, that indication was gone. And some cheese producers were like, we're just gonna put a little bit of this annatto seed coloring in it. So that's where orange cheddar comes from. White cheddar is very British, and it's also very much northeast of the States. So that's what I'm using here.
It's interesting because I think of cheddar and I think of America, but it's essentially a very British cheese.
It was born in England. In fact, there's a city called Cheddar. There's a town called Cheddar in Somerset. And I went to Cheddar and interviewed cheddar makers whose family has been making cheddar for a long, long time. I'm going to start browning this butter because I'm worried I'm going to run out of time if I don't start cooking.
Yeah, so run us through. What do you got there?
All right, I'm going to call in my handy helper, Mr. Connor Balls. Come on to the stage.
Yay,
here.
Connor.
But he's going to be my Cam B. Say hi to everyone.
Hi, everybody.
So this is Connor, and if you've not read the book, you will get to know this man. He's the best. So he's got this second cam here to get close-ups of what we're going to do. So we've got a hunk of butter, and we're going to melt it. And we're not just going to melt it, we are also going to brown it, getting this like nice golden color and some nuttiness. So one reason I chose to do melted butter and browned melted butter in this recipe is because I mean, honestly, Jen, I don't know about you, but half of the time that I decide I want to like make a baked good, it's because I've decided like 2 hours ahead of time and I know that I want it in 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that far ahead to like have the butter come to room temperature. Like, what is that?
No, and that's when I'll usually reach for butter and then forgetting, because you know what? This is out the window.
Yeah.
I'm eating cereal.
Yeah, exactly. Frosted Flakes is great. So this way it can be straight out of the fridge. It can be room temperature. Whatever you have your butter at, it's all good because you're just gonna melt it.
And does that like change the texture of a brownie? I don't, you know me, I don't do too much baking, but does that change the texture of a brownie? Does it make it moister?
Yes, exactly.
For those of you who like the word.
Yeah. The moist word that some people love, some people hate. Yeah, that's exactly what it does. Because you know, in a lot of baked good recipes, what you'll do is mix the butter and sugar together, like first off.
Look at this pull of butter. It is so sexy to me.
It is pretty sexy, I have to say, and it's going to get sexier when it starts spitting and hissing. It's like alive butter.
And is this salted or unsalted?
This is unsalted butter.
Nice.
And you can see like on the top, there's this like kind of like white bits here.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the milk solids. And if you were to make clarified butter, then you would remove that. We're not removing it, but those milk solids, you have to make sure don't rest on the bottom of, sorry, is my audio get worse when I'm looking at the stove?
You're good.
Okay. Those milk solids, you have to be careful that they don't rest on the bottom because they will burn. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to like continuously stir it so that the milk solids brown as opposed to burn.
See, we've got the nuttiness from the brown butter coming in, and also the nuttiness later with the cheddar. So you're talking about mature cheddar. And I read this a little in the book, but can you talk more about the difference between a young cheddar and a mature, like how that crystallization, is that like a quality, that's how you know something's a good aged cheddar?
Yes. So not only crystallization, that's a major component, but it's also, it will tend to be drier. So you'll see when I break up this cheddar, I'm just gonna break it into chunks with my hand, and it's just gonna kind of fall into chunks. And that's because in the aging process, in the maturing, a lot of the water in that has evaporated.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore also the flavors become more concentrated in the wheel of cheese.
I'm gonna pop in a question here while we're talking about cheese. Got one from Miriam. What is your favorite cheese of the moment?
Miriam, this is like choosing a favorite child. But I will tell you, and especially this is the cheese that is my go-to cheese in this recipe, but also just kind of for everything. And it's actually the one that I already mentioned, Montgomery's cheddar in England. Just the best darn cheddar you've ever had in your life. And you actually can get it in the States from Zingerman's. So a Michigan-based kind of like gourmet shop, you can get Montgomery's from Zingerman's. It's just really good.
And what about like a washed rind?
Oh,
because those are my favorite.
I love those. Oh my God, yeah. Stinky, but not too stinky.
Well, sometimes I'm like, bring it on.
But sometimes, yeah. No, those are so beautiful. So probably my favorite one is, again, a producer that I worked with in the book that I talk about. Martin Gott makes this incredible sheep's milk washed rind cheese called St. James. And it's amazing and it's beautiful. This rind is almost like pink. It's like orangey pink in color. And you know, each rectangle, they're shaped like rectangles. Each rectangle is different from season to season, from week to week. it's so well done, and that's how you know. I mean, that's a quality farmhouse cheese, right? It's not put in a lab and then just like everything is completely consistent all the time. And to me, it's a value add that it changes.
Yeah, I like that too. And there's actually another excerpt from the book. You spoke about Mother Noella.
Yes.
And so she said something about that ripening's like a prayer, and that you repeat this ancient formula as faithfully as possible, and then you wait for something extraordinary to happen. But for this visitation that you can't always expect, it's not always a guarantee. And I kept seeing that throughout your book of things that you can have the right conditions and you can have the same. What's going in the butter pool?
This is dark chocolate that is now going in the browned butter, and we're just gonna leave it in here to melt. And I'm just breaking it into smaller pieces.
This is a genius recipe, Katie.
I mean, when you have dark chocolate in melted butter, you just can't go wrong. Anything else that I would do would just, you can only go up.
You can only go up. That's right. Your mom and dad are in the house.
Hi, Mom and Dad. Thank you so much for joining.
Oh, this is I'm going to ask you another question from Danielle. This may seem like an impossible question, but you're on a deserted island for the rest of your life. You can only bring one cheese, one wine, and one bread. Which do you bring?
Why do you do this to me? Why do you do this to me? Okay, I have my answer. Well, and I already gave you Montgomery's cheddar, which is, I'm going to say, my go-to, especially for this when I was making it in England. Although I do have to say Jasper Hill Farms is like, this cheese is perfect for this. Okay, I'm going to go Lancashire. It is a British territorial cheese, crumbly, milky, just beautifully lactic. That's my cheese. And I'll go wine. I'm going to go with a wine from this area of Italy, Puglia. It is called Negro Amaro. It's bold, it's silky, it's beautiful. And for bread, I mean, just give me a thick crusted sourdough. Give me a thick crust with like an airy, fluffy inside with visible fermentation holes. I'm happy.
Thick, triple C thick kind of bread. I'm with you, girl.
Yes, yes. I forgot to mention, by the way, before you start actually baking or like putting together the brownies, you want to get your pan and you want to line it with aluminum foil, because this way, and it doesn't have to cover all four sides, but it should cover the long end, because what's going to happen is it'll bake and then you'll be able to remove the brownies by just holding both sides of the aluminum, and it makes it super easy peasy. So prep that first, of course. Turn on the oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and then begin as we have begun. Okay, now, because I'm gonna just keep going on, Jen, because this requires some mixing, and that always takes a little bit of time. Okay, so I've got my sugars here, granulated sugar, brown sugar. To that, I'm going to add some fine sea salt, and I'm going to add a tablespoon of espresso, or a teaspoon, sorry, of espresso powder. Yeah. Jen, do you ever put espresso in a brownie mix?
I started after my best friend Cliff told me to put in every cookie recipe. I can't make a decent cookie. I know it's ridiculous. What? I'm a rebel. I can't follow measurements. So when I do the recipes in your book, I will do my best. But okay. Espresso, that like tell us about that combo with chocolate.
You know, it just adds a depth to this. So it's not just like chocolate. You get some of like the bitterness, but just enough bitterness. It's not overwhelmingly bitter at all. It just gives these brownies shape, nuance, right? Like that's what we're going for.
Level.
Yeah, exactly. In addition to the nuance that the cheese brings, we're looking for a fully nuanced and, the personality of these brownies. It has a lot to offer, is what I'm trying to say.
There's the byline.
Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna mix. Oh wait, no, now I need to add my eggs. Okay. So we got 6 eggs here, and I'm just gonna crack these. So, Jen, I know that you're like a self-professed not huge baker, but question, when you add eggs to a baked dish that you're preparing, or any dish for that matter, how do you crack them? Do you crack them on the table? Do you crack them on the side of the bowl? Do you crack them in a bowl first and then transfer them? What's your go-to method?
I think it depends on the day, on the mood. If I'm cranky, I'll just fist them and just break them all shells into the bowl. No, but I generally like to do a crack on the side of the bowl.
Yeah.
And then in, but not on the edge, because I can be quite forceful.
Ah, okay, great. So you do on like the side, like here.
Yeah, I like the sound.
Nice. I dig it. So I always used to be a side of the bowl girl like that. And then I was just like getting way too many eggshells in all my stuff. So I know you're kind of like technically supposed to, I'll put it in a nice little bowl on the side first, make sure there are no shells, and then do it. Listen, I kind of can't be bothered. So
to wash another dish. Let's save some water. Let's save some time.
Yeah, exactly. So my go-to now is like a nice compromise. I crack on the table next to me and then in. So I'm able to I think it's a good compromise personally.
Yeah. So what's that? You're gonna mix it up now?
Now I'm gonna do a little mixy. Let's see how loud this is gonna be. So I also in the recipe, I have a stand mixer listed because that's what I used when I was testing the recipe. Well, I don't have one of those in Italy. So let's just see.
I'll do a mix for you.
All right. Yeah, party. All right, so here's the thing. Here's the deal, Jen.
What's up?
I'm supposed to do this for like 7 to 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems like a long time during a live.
Oh, look at that, Katie. It's 7 to 10 minutes later.
Yeah, no. Well, you know what I was thinking? I don't know what. I think we got time. So my helper, hey, Connor, would you mind mixing this in the other room?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yay,
How lucky am
Connor. Love that guy.
Okay.
Okay,
well.
Yeah, I got it. I understand.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Connor.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's going to mix that. So what we're looking for there is that it's going to be thick and fluffy. We want it to get to a certain texture, and it just needs to be mixed for kind of a solid chunk of time, right?
Okay.
Like 7-10 minutes. So I'm not gonna shortcut it for you. Now I'm all yours.
Yay. I like the mixing time, 7 to 10 minutes. It gives you time to reflect.
Yeah.
On your day. So speaking of reflections, you're in Italy now.
Yes.
Did you ever imagine that you'd still be in Europe after this book launched?
I really had no idea, Jen. I was pretty certain I wouldn't be in Italy though, which is where I am. So our move to Italy had everything to do with my research for the book. Like, if I had not written this book, I would not be living in Italy right now. And that is because, should I close the kitchen door? How much can you hear that mixer? Is it distracting?
Okay. No, not at all. You're good.
So it was when I was in southern Italy, getting to know the wines of this area, interviewing some really, really incredible wine producers, where I realized, oh, hey, this town where my great grandfather is supposedly from is just like an hour and a half drive. Like, I should probably scope that out and see what I can find. And I found his birth certificate, and the ball just rolled. And now I'm in Italy, and now I'm an Italian citizen. It's kind of bonkers. Did not expect it. Did not expect it.
Yeah, and I found his birth certificate, but meanwhile in the book it's like this super suspenseful thing.
I know, you're right. Oh no, did I just like ruin a part of the book?
Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler alert. No, but it is, yeah, no, you're right. It felt like an impossible task. I still can't believe we found it. It felt like, yeah, a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, well, I'm really glad you found it because now you're an Italian citizen.
And now you can come visit and we can go to the piazza and have an aperitivo and eat all the gelato in the world. So you need to come.
So speaking of aperitivo, we have a question. What are your top 3 favorite things about living in Italy?
My top 3 favorite things. Okay. 1, the language. I'm so enjoying the language and immersing myself and learning as much as I can. That's been a real joy. Of course, the food. I mean, the produce markets, it's called the fruttivendolo, our neighborhood fruit and veg vendor. It is super local, which therefore means it's super fresh. It's seasonal. Like it's all of these things that I always wanted to cook seasonally, and I always like tried to cook seasonally, but like here I kind of have to because there's not many other options. I'm like hard pressed to find an avocado. I cannot find cilantro for the life of me.
Katie, without avocado.
I know. But it's okay. It's expanding my repertoire. So that's actually been really lovely, really fun. The third thing, well, I mean, there's a ton of things. The third thing I would have to say is the wine, because the wines in this, come on, I wrote about it, a lot about it. The wines here are amazing. Italy has the most native grape varieties of anywhere in the world. It is incredible. And every region is so specific. They have specific kinds of wines. And so it's pretty incredible to have all of this at my fingertips. When I was in London, I was hard pressed to find, Fiano, which is one of my favorite white wines from Puglia. I couldn't find it in London. I wonder if I could find it in the States. So it's really cool having these things just, within arm's reach. It's awesome.
I'm so jealous of all the cheeses, all the wines, all the breads. But staying with wine, so before you went on this wine exploration in your apprentice and you harvested grapes, what was wine culture like for you before? I know when you moved to Italy, you experienced that aperitivo culture, and in France, the aperitif culture. What was it like before with what your relationship with wine?
I liked drinking it. In fact, I mean, really, that was my relationship with each of these items before I had these immersive deep dive experiences for the book. I just knew I liked them. And I even said love, like, oh, I love cheese. Oh, I love wine. But I didn't, it's interesting, like to use this, like such a strong word. I love this thing, but like, I didn't really know what that meant. Like, I didn't know how milk became cheese. I didn't really know how grapes became wine. Like, it was loving something without understanding it. And what I've learned is that understanding it gives me such a deeper appreciation for it and makes me value it so much more. And therefore, it is also more delicious. Yeah. Hey, look, my helper's back. Thanks, Connor. Oh, that looks beautiful. That's perfect.
The love with the love and a bowl.
So good. He's so good at mixing.
It's really hard.
It's really hard. Okay, great. So perfect. You have set us up perfectly for the next step here, which is we are going to add the cocoa powder. I just said that weird, didn't I? Cocoa powder and flour. Ooh, so just those, I have those pre-measured. I'm just gonna get them all nice incorporated. A little whiskey. And
one of my favorite sounds.
That's one of your favorite sounds? We could just make this like an all audio
ASMR brownie.
Yeah, an ASMR operation here. So this isn't going to be as long. So I'm just going to go ahead and mix, and I'm going to just add this little at a time, so I don't do like clouds of cocoa powder smoke.
Okay. And once again, just a reminder, if you have any questions, other comments, please leave them in the Ask Question button section.
I can't hear anything. I hope that you're talking to the audience because I'm really not really hearing us. Okay, good. Thumbs up. Thumbs up is good. I'm just dumping this in a little faster than I would normally because I'm like, all right, let's get this in here. Let's get this mixed.
That's the demo vibe. That looks so good.
Oh, and okay, so that's looking really, really, really lovely. But before that is, I'm gonna take some of that. Great. But before that's totally mixed in, I'm gonna add in my butter and chocolate. So you see, like,
oh wow,
it's just totally melted. I'm just gonna dump her right in.
Ceremoniously beautiful.
And it smells so good. Just wanna like lick this pan. All right. So now the final mixing. I'm just gonna go to town. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Wow, wow, wow.
And
velvety.
It is velvety. And you know, if I were doing this not on a live stream, I would be a little more diligent about scraping down the sides. But as it is, I think we should just continue. And you know what? That looks really good, though. I'm really happy with that.
I'm happy with that. No need to bake it. That's it. Pour it in a cup.
And I'm gonna get this out of here. And I don't know. Are you guys lickers of the?
Lick it. I know everyone else is saying it. Yeah, that a girl.
I do what I'm told. Also, you guys, it's my book launch day.
You just deserve it. We won't say anything else. We'll just watch you do that for the rest of the event.
I'll see y'all later. Bye. Thanks for joining. Okay, so we've got our batter. It's looking real good. Now, what is there left to do but add the cheddar? Okay. So here I have pre-measured out this lovely wedge of cheddar. So now, like I was saying earlier, got chocolate on my hands. I'm just gonna break it off with my fingers because with this kind of a cheddar, you can do that. Do you know what I mean, Jen? Where like some cheddars you would try and do this and you couldn't really break it off. It's kind of like
it's more elasticy, rubbery.
Bend. Yeah. So this is what we're looking for is this kind of a texture where you can really just with your fingers do that. And so don't worry about making it any certain size or anything.
It looks like just chunks of white chocolate.
Right. But it's so much better because it's cheese.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
And then I'm going to save some of this for topping. So I'm going to use almost all of it, but not quite all of it.
I have a question, Katie.
Yes, Jen.
The eggs you used in this batter, are those from your egg guy?
So, funny story. Well, they're not. And turns out, I don't know. An Italian person was like, Your egg guy. Wait, let's tell them the background of the egg guy.
So Katie and I have the podcast called Either Side Eaters, and we have an episode coming up on eggs. And so Katie was telling me that she has this egg guy that, rolls up every day, same time every day, same spot, opens the back of his van, and boom, just fresh eggs from his farm. And so you're just spoiled with these goodies.
Yeah.
And there goes the cheese.
Here goes the cheese.
Wow.
Like a waterfall in there. All right, and now I'm just going to fold it. So folding is not stirring, right? Because I'm not trying to like completely mix. I'm just trying to get it incorporated. So I'm just folding up and over. And great. Now I'm going to put it in the pan that I have prepared over here.
Beautiful. I'm just staring at this bowl and I just want to like stick my hand in and all.
I mean, Jen, if you were here, I think we would be doing that. Jen, hanging out with you in the kitchen is one of life's greatest joys for me. And that's why I'm just like so grateful that you are here with me tonight on book launch day.
Yeah. And speaking about synchronicities, the first video collab we ever did was on savory oatmeal.
Yes.
And now
yeah.
Savory in brownies. That's just the thing. That's the quirky.
Oh my gosh, this is like sweet and savory. That's like our whole food relationship, isn't it?
That's us. Sweet and savory. Oh, that looks amazing.
So you can, so there, these chunks of cheddar are going to stay in here and get real delicious in the oven. So this is going to go in for 15 minutes and then turn it around halfway through, and then another 15, and then take it out, let it rest for just a couple minutes because you don't want it to be super, super hot. When you'll then take the rest of the cheddar you have, get that into chunks, sprinkle that on top just after it's out of the oven, and what you will get is this.
Oh my gosh, Katie. Yum.
And I think I should probably eat some, don't you think?
Yeah, please. Make it a big chunk and imagine you're eating it for the both of us.
Okay, great. Actually, I'm going to make it like a monster chunk, and I'm going to imagine I'm eating it for everyone watching this live stream. How's that?
Yes.
By the way, everyone who's joined, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, it just means a whole heck of a lot to me. And I really hope that you like the book, and I can't wait to hear what you think about it.
Yes, please, please read the book, leave a rating, review, let Katie know. Cause I just want to leave like 1 million ratings because every time I turn a page, I'm just buried in it. And I'm so excited. And like you were saying before, you would think, oh, I love cheese. I love bread. No, this is a whole nother deeper level of love. Look at that. Love right there. Ooh, that looks moist.
And I want to be, well done with the word. I do want to be sure to mention also, again, I said that Jasper Hill is provided the cheddar for tonight. Anyone watching, you can use the code QUIN10. There's 2 N's in my name, QUINN. I was like, how do I spell my last name? QUIN10, and you can get a discount on their awesome cheeses. So FYI about that. And now I think I should probably bite. Which camera are we on at? Which camera?
Oh, let's get the tight.
This is the cheddar cam.
This is the cheddar money shot. Ooh.
Oh, real good chunk in there.
Everyone, again, round of applause.
These are so good every time. I don't get sick of them. I really
That's
don't.
amazing. I cannot wait to try this recipe, Katie. It looks so good. And a bunch of the other ones like zucchini carbonara and your mom's bread, your mom's challah. Susan, it looks amazing. So many things to explore in this book. Congratulations again, Katie. Very excited for you. And so if anyone who wants to share any recipes they make from the book or anything from the book, what hashtag can they use?
Hashtag cheese wine bread. And you can tag me at QKatie because I want to reshare anything that you all make. And if you like the book, like shout about it, please. Like I'm really, really relying on word of mouth for this book to get to the people who I think and hope will really love it. So yeah, if you love it, please tell your friends.
Yes, and I have like 3 copies now, so I can't wait to give them away.
Amazing. It does make it would be a really good Mother's Day gift, I'm just gonna say.
Yep, there it is, added to the cart right now. Thank you, Katie, again for allowing me to co-host with you. I'm very excited for everything, and also very excited for our podcast. It is coming soon on Food 52 Podcast Network called Either Side Eaters. It is premiering next Thursday, May 6th. So that's another launch.
It's gonna be so fun. So fun.
I am sending you so much love, Katie.
Thank you.
All for
I'm
asking
sending you
questions.
So much love right back. And love to everyone who's watching. Thank you so much. Thank you for getting my book, because I know you had to get the book to be here. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I really hope you love it.
Yay. Now it's 1 a.m. there.
Yes, that's true.
I read brownie dreams.
Perfect. Yeah, it's perfect brownie time.
Do another bite. Yeah, do it. All right. Bye, Katie. Love you.
Bye, love you. Bye. Ciao, ciao, ciao. And for those of you who stuck around this long, thanks. You're awesome. I wanted to, as always, like I always do at the end of every single video, thank the Quirky Club, my Patreon community. Thanks for watching. If you're still watching right now, I really hope you're subscribed to this channel because you obviously like what you're seeing, at least I think. Okay, ci vediamo. Bye, y'all.